we need to have the shame. We need to have these setbacks. We need to deal with the problems that we get, and we need to embrace our insecurities so we can see them and work on them and grow from it. Like, insecurities is what make us better. As long as you can recognize that you have something to be insecure about, see that as motivation to do something with your life.
Subscribe to this channel. In case you are watching this channel and you have not subscribed.
You saw that. Okay. Yes. And she starts off by saying, I'm a businesswoman. Here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I have to do. And we looked at the Budlight brand. It was kind of dying off. You know, it was more like the fratty, you know, this, that. I'm like, okay, first of all, here's what I pulled up just a minute ago before we came in. What is the profile of a beer drinker?
Right.
Let's actually do that.
Yeah.
That's like saying DeWalt is falling off because it's only targeted towards hardworking men. So we need to break off from that demographic and start pressing it towards the beauty industry. Like, it doesn't make sense. Just because your brand's dying off doesn't mean there's a problem with the demographic.
What is the profile of a beer drinker? So we went up and we looked it up. 80% of beer drinkers are what? Men.
Men, of course.
You can't force a woman to drink beer if they don't want to.
Right.
Women like wine. Women like what is these
vodka.
Wine,
like
rosé, or
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Women like, okay. And by the way, that's not me telling you. That's stats. When you look at the stats, you're not gonna. If you and I right now had a rosé, it'd be kind of weird, right? You're like, hey, you want to have some rosé, Pat? I would say, you're serious, bro. Maybe you said, hey, you want to have a full send beer? You want to have this? It'd be a little bit more. Yeah, let's have a drink together, have a conversation. So the profile of a beer drinker, 4 out of 5 is male. Okay, it's not the LGBTQ community. And then you have to look at the transgender community, and they'll say, well, there's about 1.5 million transgenders in America that identify as a transgender. No, there's not. The number
1.5. I thought it was 1.7% of the population is trans, or maybe I got that mixed up with something else.
is so much smaller because beer drinkers can't be 13 years old, Gen Z.
True.
Yeah. Beer drinkers have to be what? Above 21. You have to be a dummy of a VP of marketing to say us targeting to transgender community, more men are going to want to drink beer. So then you go into saying, well, then it's the ESG score. So we went online and we looked at the ESG score of Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, and you notice they have one of the lowest ESG scores in America out of all the companies. So she's trying to increase the ESG score. But this is the part about, if you ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, in Blue Ocean Strategy, it's a phenomenal book. Everybody that's in business should read it. They don't talk about conforming. You try to get into a market that other people are not in, like Yellowtail used to compete with other wine drinkers, and then they realize their wine sucks compared to any wine company. So Yellowtail went from targeting wine drinkers to Yellowtail went to target beer drinkers. They took off. They went from selling a few 100,000 cases per year to 40 million cases per year. Because
that's exactly what Happy Dad did. I don't know if y'all, I've got my camera covering it up. But the Happy Dad, the hard seltzer made by the Nelk Boys, they wanted to make an alcohol company, but they knew that if they jumped into the beer or vodka or whiskey, if they jumped into any of these major demographics, that they would have to compete with the top dogs. So they hopped in with the new type of liquor. I don't know if it's liquor, but they hopped in with hard seltzer because the only competition they really had was White Claw, and they've been dominating. Well, at least in my opinion. I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers and shit, but from me being a fan of the Nelk Boys, it looks like they are smashing shit.
Because their target of audience was beer drinkers. Okay, so you're paying $2 for beer, you can pay $6 now, whatever. That was kind of the way they approach it. It's absolutely insane what some of these guys are doing. So now, going back to your question about, do you think conservative? I think that's kind of what you're asking the question.
Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you, which is awesome, which is absolutely awesome. This whole thing about feminists defending transgenders. You're a moron is what you are. Do you realize how dumb of an argument that is?
Yep.
Let me get this straight. Feminism was to protect women.
Yep.
So I'm a man. I decide to think I'm a woman, and I go beat other women in MMA fights or in swimming. You're turning me into a hero?
Any sport.
Guess what? Your argument's about to fall apart right in front of you by your own people.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
The whole
Which is not even fair, because I know there's a lot of women that are 100% against this. And I think a majority of the women that are with this transgender shit are only with it because they're too scared to speak out about it, which I feel like the majority of people in the country are right now. And I don't really blame people because they have to fear for their career and they have to fear for being made to look like a bad person on the internet, which is easy as hell to do nowadays. And people are too scared to do that. And I get it. But if social media didn't push this whole LGBT movement so tough, I believe more people would be more vocal about it. But people are too scared to even speak anymore.
The whole concept of, you know, what's going on right now with ideas. Bad ideas eventually get get exposed. There's an actress. Her name is, what's this girl's name? Her name is Sarah Foster. I don't know if you guys know who Sarah Foster is.
No, I don't.
She comes out and she says the following. She says, I am a Democrat, okay? But she says San Francisco is turning into a shithole, and it's all because of the Democratic policies. This is a woman that's on Vanity Fair saying this. Disgusting, my heart breaks for the family. I'm a registered Democrat and feel confident saying liberal politicians are ruining cities.
I see that so much now. Like I didn't consider myself liberal. I don't. A couple years ago, I didn't even know the difference between liberal and Republican, or Democratic and Republican. I knew that they was the parties, but I didn't know what they stood for or anything like that. And I think Trump's really the one that made me realize what like a Republican is and this and that. Well, it wasn't really Trump that did it, but it was all the talk show hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert. It was those people that really opened my eyes to what a Republican is, and I was against it. I felt like I was more Democratic. But me, along with seems like a majority of Democrats, or at least people that have to pick a side now, are aligning with Republicans because the Democrats, the liberals, are those the same thing? If y'all know, let me know, because I consider them the same thing. But the Democrats and the liberals, they have made it so hard to support them and be on their side. And if you say anything against even one talking point that they have, you are considered a Republican now. And now everyone's just considering themselves Republicans now. And just like how that woman said she was a Democrat her whole life, and she still considers herself to be a Democrat, but the Democratic leaders made San Francisco how they did. I don't see how you can still support the Democratic Party whenever the Democratic Party is what got you in this position that you don't agree with. I swear a majority of people that talk like that are just too scared to be called a Republican, or too scared to say that they don't align with either party or whatever. They have to choose whether a Democrat or Republican. And Republicans have such a bad name for the years and years that they have been getting trashed by the media. But they've been getting such a bad name from being trashed by the media that no one even wants to be vocal that they affiliate themselves with them anymore.
So what does this mean? Good ideas eventually get exposed. Good talent eventually get exposed. Ron Paul said one of the best things. He said, when eventually I became so passionate about politics, when I was a doctor, I went to this one guy and I said, listen, I can't stop reading this material. I'm obsessed with this content. What do I do? He said, keep talking about it. The world tends to know how to use people with the right messages and make them big. You keep talking about it, the right person's going to find you, right? Sure. Good policies get exposed. Good talent get exposed. Bad policies also get exposed. And that's exactly what's happening today, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are paying the price for bad policies today.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the feminist movement and how it's kind of like hypocritical what they're doing right now. We had a conversation with both our sisters yesterday because they both work with us at our marketing agency as well. And we're just like, you need to be upset about this.
Yeah.
I said, I'm upset and he's upset. I said, but you guys need to be upset about this because there's so much we can fight about it, right? And again, what's a man going to say to a feminist, right? But if women start standing up and saying something,
I get that mindset because it's really hard for a man to talk to a feminist, but we need to stop pretending that our opinions don't matter whenever it comes to the opposite gender. I don't care if there's a woman talking about stuff that men go through or a man talking about stuff that women go through. If they have an opinion, then their opinion should be heard. Like, that's another thing where society has kind of made people scared to speak on topics because it doesn't relate to them or that they aren't a part of it, when it doesn't take a college degree to be an observer. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You should still be able to state your opinion and debate people on why you believe this, and maybe even come to some common ground, maybe prove your point, or maybe learn something. But you should be able to express how you feel and give your thoughts, or else you're going to be living like a dummy. Like you won't be able to learn if you aren't able to ask questions or have discourse with people to where you debate back and forth on topics. You need that to learn.
Something. Now that could be something, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they are, but I think what's happening right now, so there's three different camps.
Yeah.
There's a camps that the feminists, to them, the idea was, you know what, that is right. You and I are equal. I am just as good as you. I should get paid just as much as you do. I should do this, and I should do that, I should do this. And the idea seems a noble idea. And then all of a sudden you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is kind of not working.
Right.
That camp. And I meant to get out the vault at Diplomat 8 months ago. And I gave a questionnaire to everybody that night. And I said, the next day I want you to come and share with us the biggest breakthrough you had. One of these girls, she's a Persian girl, late 30s, very attractive. She's kind of raising her hand like this. Her sister's sitting next to her. But I haven't seen her yet, but I know she's going like this. She's not going like this. There's a big difference,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like you're hoping don't call mommy,
Yeah.
right? So eventually, after 10 questions, she goes like this. Now she really wants to say it. So I call on her. I said, what's the breakthrough you had? She said, my biggest breakthrough is I've been competing with men for the last 30 years, and I've been beating them. I make a lot of money. I do very well for myself. All my people make money. I'm beating my cousins. I'm beating all these guys. But I'm 39 years old,
And I ain't happy.
and all I thought about last night, all night, is I want a husband.
Man,
I know.
that gave me chills, dog. I hate whenever that happens so much to women now that they get brainwashed by this boss bitch mentality that they want to go to college and be successful and be independent. And I get that, like it sounds like something that you should strive for as a human, but just women just don't typically want that. They want a family. They want babies. They want to be the mother that they have evolved to be through generations of women. They want to be a mother, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's sad that society makes women think that that's a punishment. That is the most beautiful thing a woman could do. That is the most noble thing a woman could do, is be a mother and raise the next generation. And it's so sad that women are tricked into thinking that they need to be like men whenever we are different for a reason. We don't find happiness in the same lanes. Some of us do. Some of us are different. But when we're talking about a majority, that is not what the majority wants. And it's because that's how we evolved.
I no longer want to compete with men.
Wow.
I want to marry one, and I want to have a family. This is the beautiful part about you and I have had many bad ideas before. You know what's a great thing about parents? Sometimes they'll see their kid that has a bad idea, and rather than getting in the way, they'll say what? Go ahead and see how it
do
goes.
it. Do it.
Yeah,
And then you go there and you come back and say, Dad, that was a shitty idea. I'm glad you learned.
Yeah.
Right.
And the next one. And you just hope some of the ideas are not the bad ones that, you just want to make sure some of the bad ideas they go and test. The feminists that bought into that now they're older, more and more of them are saying to people, I'm 62 years old. I was
It's
a
too
feminist.
late.
Now I'm single. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. I am so lonely. I hate the fact that I bought into the feminist argument. I wish I would have got married. I wish I would have had kids. And I realized man is not my enemy. It's so emotional when you see this because
You're
there's
right. That's what I'm
nothing
saying.
worse than seeing somebody that wasted their lives.
Yeah.
And the pain when you see them, you're like, I feel for you, man, on what you're going through.
It's the worst.
It really is the worst thing. And I think the red pill movement is getting kind of lost in that same lane. A lot of the red pill guys are trying to teach men to not care about having a relationship, wanting to focus on being this strong, independent man. And I agree, like that's how it should be for a while. But if you're 35, like, dog, you got to start trying to settle down. Like if you don't have options, and even if you do have options, you still need to start trying to find a woman that is motherly to start a family with, to help you grow as a man. Because to me, you are not a complete man until you are a father. I've only been a father for 3 years, and I'm only 25, so I still know that I'm not that wise whenever it comes to being a man and being the strong leader that I want to be. I know that I'm not there yet, but being a father gave me a giant leap to that. Like it taught me so much, and I know it teaches a lot of men a lot of things, at least the ones that try to be a father. Like I think a lot of men are scared to, and they push it away because they don't want that vulnerability, because it is a bitch to deal with, man. Like the thing I hate the most is thinking about like one day I won't be there for my kids, or my kids might not be here anymore. And the latter is the most scary, but they both are just really depressing things to have to live with. But as with that said, as sad as it is to be that vulnerable and feel out of control in that aspect, because you can't control it, it tears you up as a man, but nowhere near as much as being a father lifts you up as a man. And the red pill, I think the red pill movement gets lost on the have many hoes, have a lot of money, don't worry about having a family, but eventually, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, you will be alone. You will have nobody to actually call you yours, and you will never have offspring to watch grow up. You will never be able to continue on your name because you was too selfish and you thought only for yourself. Men need to realize that being a father is the most important thing, just like women need to realize being a mother is the most important thing.
Yeah, then there's the other one where it's kind of like, look, I want you to respect me as well. I'm not a feminist. I love men. I want to get married, but I just want to get some respect as well. And maybe I want to build a business. I want to do this. Cool. Go do your thing as well. And then there's those that are sitting around saying, look, I honestly don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of like watching on the sidelines. And now they're starting to realize this shit just doesn't make sense. I'm a Democrat. I voted for this, but I don't know about this stuff now. It's starting to get a little bit too much. Over the next few years, they're going to get louder and louder and louder.
Like I said earlier, because they loop back into the Democrat shit, I think a majority of people right now are too scared to call themselves Republican. And I don't really think aligning with either side is smart. I've said that so many times in many of my videos. If y'all watch, I'm sure you've seen it. But for all the new viewers, I think like staying in the middle is the safest way to go. And I know that people say that's playing a fence and playing it safe, but it's the smartest way to do it. Why would you just jump to an extreme and follow their ideology? I don't care if it's the LGBT, the Christians, Satanism, feminism, race superiority. Fuck, I don't even care if it's like, it don't even matter if it's just an influencer that you get behind. I don't see why you would get behind someone 100% and just follow what they say. And I hope none of y'all ever get 100% behind with what I say. I want y'all to debate with me. If you guys have any questions or concerns about some stuff that I say, I want you to address it. I want to have the different perspectives. That's why I started my whole YouTube channel. I didn't want to start a cult. I wanted to start a community to learn together. I don't think many people have that same mindset. I think a lot of people that want to be an influencer or want to join these parties, they want to do it for support and they want to do it for leadership to an extent. They want to do it to help themselves feel more confident. And obviously confidence is good, but I don't think that should be the only thing that you work for, because we need to have the shame. We need to have these setbacks. We need to deal with the problems that we get, and we need to embrace our insecurities so we can see them and work on them and grow from it. Like, insecurities is what make us better. As long as you can recognize that you have something to be insecure about, see that as motivation to do something with your life. Don't see it as like, oh, well, that's me and this is how I'm always gonna be. Like, no. If you see something that you're not proud of, change it. It doesn't matter if you got to spend 30 seconds to do it or you got to spend 30 years to do it. As long as you get it changed, you will feel accomplished. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of that video. Please leave a like. If you got anything to say about the video, let me know down below. You know I'll read every single comment. And if you fuck with your boy, will you please give me a subscription? With that said, deuces.
We just run it up, we gon' run it up, nigga. Run it up, blue bands got my hundreds up. White girl, snow bunnies up, says she don't know you ain't one of us. I always kick it with her, you ain't fucking nothing. Why your pants sad, you ain't clutching nothing? Fuck, nigga. You think you tough or something? Come run you something, nigga. I've been out of my mind.